Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are on ayah number 130 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَرْغَبُ عَنْ مِلَّةِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِلَّا مَنْ سَفِهَ نَفْسَهُ وَلَقَدِ اصْطَفَيْنَاهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَإِنَّهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ لَمِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. We're still on the topic of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And remember, Ibrahim alayhi salam is the man that the Jews, the Christians and the Muslimin all revere. And if we can show that Ibrahim alayhi salam is upon the deen of al-Islam, which is the same as the last prophet's deen, then it is upon the Christians and the Jews to embrace al-Islam. So these ayat form an evidence against the Ahlul Kitab, and they refute the claim of the Ahlul Kitab that Ibrahim a.s. was either a Christian or a Jew. Anyway, the vocabulary of this ayah, yarghabu an, raghiba, is a strange type of verb. It can take opposite meanings. Raghiba fi means to desire something. Raghiba an means to not desire something, or turn away, or be averse to something. Millah means deen of Ibrahim. Illa man safiha nafsa. Nafsa means himself, and safiha, to be foolish. So this means the only person who is averse to the deen of Ibrahim is the one who has fallen into foolishness. Walaqad, we have spoken about this before. There are three emphases here: wa, then la, and then qad. Istafaynahu, from istafa yastafi, to choose. Okay, what was Ibrahim chosen with? He was chosen with prophethood, and also being a Khalil of Allah, the close, beloved friend of Allah. Dunya, we have spoken about before. Akhirah, meaning the life after death. He will be from the Salihin, that's clear enough. So we may pick up from this ayah the obvious lesson that those who refuse to embrace al-Islam have thrown their own selves into foolishness, which is the opposite of guidance. And what is amazing is that the kuffar boast that they are the people of intellect, that they do not believe in such superstitions as a god, and that the scientific method is all you need for knowledge. These people are completely blind and have compound ignorance. They think they are correct, whereas in reality they could not be any more wrong and any more misguided. This ayah also serves as a rebuke against the Christians, Jews and Mushrikun, who all were living in the Arabian Peninsula at that time. It's telling them, you people are foolish. You may remember from ayah number 13, when Allah speaks about the Munafiqun, He tells them, Ala innahum humus sufaha. Indeed, they are the foolish ones. But it's just that they do not perceive it. And this is the problem with the kuffar. They simply do not perceive that they are misguided and that they are foolish. And this is the effect of the sealed heart. The only way their heart could be unsealed is through a rude awakening on Yawm al-Qiyamah. We also find the vital lesson that anyone who is righteous in this life will also be righteous in the hereafter and will therefore enter Jannah. Because Ibrahim a.s. was a prophet in this life and therefore righteous, and in the hereafter there will be no prophets in the traditional sense of the word, but there will be those who are righteous and unrighteous. Ayah 131. إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ أَسْلِمْ قَالَ أَسْلَمْتُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. إِذْ meaning when, so that is in the past. It can also mean وَذْكُرْ, as in make mention. When his Rabb said to him, Aslim. Notice how he says Rabbuhu, his Rabb. Allah is the Rabb of all things, we said this before, but his Rabb, like we mentioned previously, this Rububiyyah is specific, a special relationship between Allah and Ibrahim. Aslim meaning linguistically make peace, because silm is peace, And so you make peace by submitting to Allah Jalla wa Ala. If you do not submit to Allah, you are not at peace with Allah. So this is the core meaning of Al-Islam. It is to make peace by submitting yourself to Allah, or surrendering. So the all-encompassing definition of Al-Islam would be as follows: that you surrender to Allah in obedience to Him, and you free yourself of shirk and its people. And so when Allah gave him this command, Aslim, immediately Ibrahim alayhi salam, without any argument, without even a second thought, he says, Aslamtu li Rabbil Alameen, meaning I have become a Muslim to the Rabbul Alameen. We have spoken about that before. Also notice we have another case of al-iltifat, which we spoke about before. Do you notice in the previous ayah he says, we chose him, and in this ayah he says, when his Rabb said to him. So he moved from the first person plural to the third person singular, al-iltifat. And this is to keep the kalam fresh and to keep it from becoming monotonous. Watch out for it, it happens all the time in the Quran. Reflecting on this ayah, we find the obligation of embracing al-Islam because Allah gives the command, Aslim. We find how quick Ibrahim alayhi salam is to obey Allah Jalla wa Ala. No ifs, no buts, no questions. Also note to the answer, he says, Aslamtu li Rabbil Alameen. He does not say, Aslamtu lak, I have made Islam to you. But he says, to the Rabbil Alameen. This is interesting because it's as if he's telling us the reason why Allah Jalla wa Ala is worthy of making Islam to. It's because he's the Rabbul Alameen. If anyone is not the Rabbul Alameen, he is not worthy of having Islam made to him. In other words, surrendering to him. He's not worthy. So Ibrahim alayhi salam is giving the illah, the justification as to why Allah Jalla wa Ala is worthy of surrender. And in this ayah, vitally, we find that Ibrahim alayhi salam was a Muslim, and this evidence actually uses the word Islam, or the root letters Aslama, Yuslimu, Islaman. That makes Ibrahim a Muslim by word, not by insinuation. We have a direct word here. Why is this important? Because the Christians, they claim that he is a Christian, the Jews claim that he is a Jew. And yet Ibrahim alayhi salam did not even know what the word Christian means or what the word Jew means. Those words did not even exist in his time. So how could Ibrahim alayhi salam ever call himself a Christian when the word did not even exist, or a Jew when the word did not even exist? Yet the word Muslim existed. And this word Muslim existed for all the prophets in their respective languages. This is an absolutely crucial point, and it's a huge kick in the teeth for the Ahlul Kitab. And similar to this, we have many other examples in the Quran where the prophets use the word Muslim or Islam or any of these derivative root letters, telling us that the word Muslim was used for all the prophets. And we take ayah number 132. وَوَصَّى بِهَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ بَنِيهِ وَيَعْقُوبُ يَا بَنِيَّ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى لَكُمُ الدِّينَ فَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. So vocabulary, وَوَصَّى. Wassa means to give a firm order. Biha, with it, referring to al-Islam, because this ayah continues from the previous ayah, and the previous ayah is talking about how Ibrahim a.s. embraced Islam. So this Islam was the firm order given by Ibrahim to his sons. So Ibrahim gave the firm order to his sons to embrace Islam, and Yaqub as well. So Yaqub gave the firm order to his sons to embrace Islam. Ya Baniya. This is a compassionate way of calling your sons. O my sons. Istafa, chosen. So Allah has chosen for you the deen. Now we need to talk about what ad-din means. Ad-din بمعنى كل ما يلتزم به, everything which one adheres to. Now you could translate this to religion or way of life. Whatever you translate it to, that's fine, but understand what it really means. Everything which you adhere to. So it's your complete lifestyle, what you do and how you do it. And the deen being referred to here is al-Islam, because that is the context of these ayat. So do not die except that you are Muslimin. Look at this word, Muslimin. So this shows us what? Yaqub alayhi salam was a Muslim, and he ordered his sons to die upon the state of Islam. So if somebody asks you, what is the evidence that Ibrahim alayhi salam was a Muslim? The last ayah is the evidence. And what is the evidence that Yaqub alayhi salam is a Muslim as opposed to a Jew or a Christian? Then the evidence is this particular ayah. So notice the actual words are used. It's not some kind of a rational evidence where you put 2 and 2 together to make 4. No, it is absolute, verbal and direct. You cannot get better evidence than this. As for Yaqub, he is the son of Ishaq alayhi salam, who is the son of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Of course, the famous son of Yaqub alayhi salam is Yusuf alayhi salam, after whom a whole surah is named. Now, Yaqub alayhi salam, ordering his sons, they say he had 12 sons, and the names are even mentioned. Number 1, Rubil. Number 2, Sham'un. Number 3, Lawi. Number 4, Yehuda, from which it is said the word Yahud comes from, and Allah knows best. Number 5, Riyalun. Number 6, Yashjar. Number 7, Dan. Number 8, Naftali. Number 9, Jad. Number 10, Ashir. Number 11, Yusuf. And number 12, Binyamin. This is what has been mentioned, and Allah knows best. We take from this ayah, reflecting on it, that you order your children to embrace Islam and to practice the deen, just as we find Ibrahim alayhi salam and Yaqub alayhi salam doing. We find the direct evidence that Yaqub alayhi salam was a Muslim, not a Christian and not a Jew. We also find that your Islam will do you no good unless you die upon it. And that is clear cut from the ayah. Because he says, do not die unless you are Muslim. Which means that if you die and you're not a Muslim, then it is trouble. We find that this deen of al-Islam is not just some man-made rubbish that you find with other adyan of this world like Sikhism and Buddhism and Hinduism and modern day Christianity and all the rest of this type of rubbish. No, rather it is the deen which Allah Jalla wa Ala has istafa, chosen. So it comes from Allah. It does not come from the imaginations of man. Wallahu a'lam.